read books on how to manifest goals, dreams, and desires, how to use the law of attraction, how to get the things in life you want, nobody mentions the most important ingredient to success, to wealth creation, to making money. So we talked about these common denominators. But there was one common denominator when I brought it up, everyone lit up like a Christmas tree because they all said that this is the missing key to success.
He's built multi-million-dollar companies. His explosive books on health and wealth have sold over 60 million copies. Now, the Kevin Trudeau Show they don't want you to know.
It's a secret that I did not invent. It's been used for thousands of years, and it's been used by the wealthiest people on the planet. It's something that is not taught in virtually any book on success. When you read books on how to manifest goals, dreams, and desires, how to use the law of attraction, how to get the things in life you want, when you read books on wealth creation, how to make money, how to invest properly, all these things about increasing wealth, increasing income, making more money, nobody mentions the most important ingredient to success, to wealth creation, to making money. Nobody mentions it. But it is the single most important ingredient. And if it's missing, it's going to be very difficult for you to make lots of money, achieve great financial success, and most importantly, achieve deep joy and happiness and bliss within. I was just with 40 guys out in California for a week. We spent a week together at a facility called the Golden Door Resort. It's actually a spa resort, retreat center, health center, exercise center. It's hard to define. It's been around for over 50 years. It looks like you're in Japan. It's like a Japanese facility, and you go in, and there's these big golden door gates that open up, and once you get in, it's a couple thousand acres, and you're in this little enclave. You never leave the facility. It's only 40 guests, and it's a one-week program. You show up on a Sunday, and you leave the following Sunday. Most of the year, it's women only. 6 weeks a year, it's men only, and there's a couple weeks where it's couples. I've been going for over 30 years. There are guys there that have been going for over 50 years. There are guys there that have visited the facility for a one-week program over 130 times. That's 130 weeks they've been there in their lifetime. And there were guys that I was with that had been there 70 times, 90 times, 50 times, 40 times, and so forth. I've been there, I think, well over 30 times. But these guys are incredibly wealthy people. When I was there were 40 of us, and we were kind of doing a little calculation. The combined net worth was well over $1 trillion US dollars of the gentlemen that were at that facility. A couple weeks before, there was one guy who is the founder of one of the largest hedge funds in the world, and they control probably $750 billion. And this one guy controls $750 billion, which means he's connected with most of the wealthy people on the planet because they put money into his hedge fund and he invests and so forth. These people are incredibly wealthy. And as we were chatting over the week, we talked about success principles and common denominators of success. I was asking them, have you ever read a book like Think and Grow Rich, or The Magic of Believing, or The Magic of Thinking Big, or Ask and It Is Given by Esther Hicks, The Teachings of Abraham, or How to Win Friends and Influence People. And interestingly enough, most of those guys had never read any of those books, with the exception of How to Win Friends and Influence People. They read that book. Most guys were absolutely spot-on advocates of Dale Carnegie, the Dale Carnegie course, because back in our day, we used to actually take the whole Dale Carnegie course. It was a course you took once a week for like 4 months or something. It's based on the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. But taking the Dale Carnegie course was something that in a lot of companies and big corporations, it was required for executives to take that course because you needed to know how to interact with people. So that was the one thing that everybody did because they understood the importance of interacting with people, because God or the universe works only through people. Yeah, it works through animals and nature. But the way life works is everything works through people. Everything works through people. Write that down. Everything works through people. And unless you can connect with people, unless you have people opening up to you, and unless you have affinity with people, nothing's going to work. So that was the one thing. But all these other things, all these other books, they hadn't read. They hadn't gone to any Tony Robbins seminars or Joe Dispenza seminars or Joe Vitale seminars or any of the other success gurus that are out there. They hadn't gone to any of these seminars. They were all members of a private society. They were all members of a secret society, effectively, or a private association or a club, whether it was the Harvard Alumni Club or a very prominent exclusive country club or a secret society like Masons or the Brotherhood or Skull and Bones or Bohemian Grove or Council on Foreign Relations. So that was another common denominator. So we talked about these common denominators. But there was one common denominator when I brought it up, everyone lit up like a Christmas tree because they all said that this is the missing key to success. It's the missing key to opening up the windows of heaven so that blessings pour into your life in ways that you can't even imagine. And that secret, everyone, that secret, the secret to all living, the secret to living, the secret to success, the one most important ingredient, and there are a lot of important ingredients, but there's one that is the most significant important ingredient, which makes everything else work easier and faster, and that is giving. Giving. Do you realize that the wealthiest people on the planet give a higher percentage of their income and net worth than people that are average income earners? A higher percentage, not just a higher amount, a higher percentage of their income and net worth. And you will say, well, they can afford it. But what you don't know is that they started their giving when they were broke, when they were first starting off. That is what you don't understand. You think that when they started making money, that's when they started giving. No, they started giving the first time they ever made any income. John D Rockefeller, the richest man on the planet, probably the richest man of all time, in today's dollars worth almost $1 trillion. And back then it wasn't just in stock, it was in mostly cash. So I don't think you can compare his wealth to anybody else. Even today, Elon Musk and Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, most of their wealth is in stock, which you can't really trade because if they tried to convert that stock to cash, then their wealth would be cut in half because the stock would crash. But John D Rockefeller, arguably the richest man of all time, said that when he got a job, and I believe it was selling newspapers, and he made $1.50, his first paycheck, his first income, he made $1.50 for the week. He gave 30% of that away. 30%. And he said the reason is he's a Baptist. He's not Jewish, he's a Baptist. But as a Baptist, he read the Bible and believed in giving charity. And in the Christian and Jewish Bibles, whether it's the Old Testament, the first 5 books, the Torah, the Pentateuch, the books of Moses, the first 5 books, whether it's the prophets, whether it's the New Testament, the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, whether it's the epistles, the letters that Paul wrote. In all of those writings, and also in the Quran, and also in the Mahabharata from India, and the Vedas, and the Ramayana, all the texts, and even in the Hopi Indian tribes and the Zulu tribes of Africa and the Aboriginal tribes, all of these texts, and even in writings in Egypt, ancient Sumeria, if you look at the Aztec writings, the Mayan writings, they all talk about giving. And giving falls into a couple categories. Primarily, in the Christian Bible, it falls into 2 categories. One is giving a tithe, or 10%, And this came about when God said, look, there's going to be one tribe of the Hebrews, Levi, the Levites. They will be the priests, which means they're not going to earn an income. They're going to be in charge of promoting God. They're going to manage the temple. They're going to do the rituals. They're going to do the ritualistic prayers. They're going to make sure that the people are aware of my commandments and my rules and my regulations and to help people live a better life. They will do the sacrifices. They will basically do all of the spiritual work for all of the Jews. But they're not going to earn an income. So therefore, God says, everybody else, you have to pay a tax. You have to take 10% of everything you earn, 10% of your crops, 10% of your livestock. If you have 10 brand new calves that are born this year, 10%, which is one has to be given to the Levites. You have to give it to God. And the Levites will then use it for either sacrifice or for their own subsistence. This was the rule. It was called a tithe, giving 10%. The Mormons follow the tithing rule. Seventh-day Adventists are very particular on that as well, and other Christian groups. And when John D Rockefeller was growing up, he was taught you must give a tithe. But that is like an automatic. That's a requirement. You're not doing anything special if you give a tithe. You're just doing what you're required to do because it's like a tax. And in the Bible, it then talks about offerings. Sometimes the word alms, A-L-M-S, is also used. It's usually tithes and translated into English offerings. Tithes, which is the 10%, and offerings, which is anything over and above. And in the Christian Bible and in the Old and New Testament and all the other books, it talks about giving to charity, giving to the poor, giving to the needy, giving to the underprivileged. It's giving. It's all about giving. Hi, I'm Kevin Trudeau. This is everything they don't want you to know about to improve the quality of your life. Broadcasting every Monday and Wednesday, 2 days a week now. Monday and Wednesday at 1 o'clock Chicago time. Make sure you tune in and subscribe to the channel and share these shows with everyone you know.